Hello, everyone. My guest today is Mike Dickerson. He's the Chief Executive Officer of ClickDimensions, the leading marketing automation solution for Microsoft Dynamics 365. He joined ClickDimensions from PGI, a global provider of web conferencing software and collaboration technology, where he served as Executive Vice President of Strategy and Business Development. In that role, he developed partnerships with some of the biggest players in the technology industry, including Microsoft. Before that, he started PGI's Global Collaborative Services division, growing it from $86 million to $240 million in revenue and serving as a trusted advisor to some of the most recognized brands all around the globe. Mike, are you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely.
All right. Tell us about ClickDimensions. For folks that have not heard of the company, what do you do and how do you make money? Is it pure play SaaS?
It is a pure play SaaS. It's a marketing automation company focused primarily on B2B. The thing that makes it a little bit different is that the company was built originally in the Microsoft Dynamics ecosystem, built natively on the Dynamics platform.
Okay.
And ultimately developed a unique distribution system in that market, which is special because there are about 7,000 MarTech firms out there. And I think one of the key things that the founders of the company did was that they picked a distribution scheme and a segment of the market that they could really dominate in and protected themselves from the vicious competition that was going on in the rest of the MarTech industry.
I would agree with you. A lot of people overlook this, but I think the most effective thing you can do in a crowded market is find one channel and monopolize the heck out of it. It sounds like your guys and your folks did that. What year was launched? When did they create this?
It was launched in 2010. Great startup story. A guy who had one successful small business operating out of his basement had connected with a developer in Tel Aviv, Israel, who was writing code in his parents' apartment. The two guys had never met. They had an idea for a company, and they worked it. And from that, without taking any venture capital, they built it up to a company that by the time I came in had 2,800 customers and was doing almost $20 million in run rate revenue.
When did you come in? What year?
January 23rd, 2017.
Oh, wow. Okay. So fairly recently. And what did the company grow at over the past 12 months?
Yeah, so we'll do about $40 million this year. We grew 36% last year to just almost $31 million last year.
Okay, that's great. So from 31 million to about 41 million in terms of ARR this year. Where's most of that growth coming from? New customers or expansion revenue?
New customers. I think that's one of the opportunities that excited me about this business was they had a very efficient customer acquisition cost and a really efficient machine to acquire new customers, and the opportunity to sell those customers a second and a third product seemed like a great potential.
And are you referencing the Dynamics kind of channel for distribution still, or are there other ones you've discovered?
We really focus on the Dynamics channel, and if I were to look back at what the real genius of the guys that started this company, they really understood the Microsoft Dynamics channel. They understood how they made money. They understood how to connect with them. They understood what it was like to live in a business that is dominated by the world's largest software company, and they really connected well on that. And so what we've really taken the opportunity to do is to leverage our very effective cost of acquisition and allow us to build out a complete digital marketing portfolio for B2B customers. And we get to do it in a domain where, frankly, we win more than our fair share of customers because of our Dynamics expertise. Mm-hmm. So we're sticking in the Dynamics ecosystem. It was primarily the growth came through new logos, but we've been working on that cross-sell and upsell motion for the last 9 months.
And Mike, you talk about your effective CAC. What is your CAC today? What are you spending to acquire a new customer, fully weighted?
I'll tell you what our LTV to CAC ratio is, because
Sure.
I'd rather not give out our exact numbers. But we're operating at about a 7x, which is pretty darn good.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now, let me ask you a different question that will kind of help me understand about how aggressive you're being. How aggressive are you being with payback period? Are you happy to wait 24 months, or you want to wait 12 months or 6 months or less?
Yeah, so I'm sort of like standard SaaS businesses to be under 12 months or less if you can do it. We're a good bit less than that. And one of the things that's really unique about this channel model that these guys built that would be very hard to replicate and if you were looking at a business plan that said, hey, I'm going to build a business that has 650 active partners. That's how many partners we've done at least one deal with in the past year. To build that from scratch would seem, intimidating. And if you look at
what does that mean, though, Mike? Sorry, partners. I thought you had one big one, which was Dynamics.
No, there are 7,000 Microsoft Dynamics partners who sell Dynamics, install Dynamics, configure it, migrate data, all of that kind of stuff. So those are essentially our sales force. And of those 650 did at least one deal with us in the last 12 months. Of those 650, 60% of them have 10 consultants or less. So this is a real long tail phenomenon that these guys built up and would be hard to replicate.
What's the kickback there? Are you paying like 30% of ARR or something like that? How do you incentivize these guys?
Yeah. So also interesting, normal SaaS, sort of commissions can range in the Microsoft world, 16 to 20% can range up, 40% and higher in other places. But the real beauty of this model was, let's take a typical deal. Say it's 75 seats of Microsoft Dynamics. My numbers may be a little bit off, but that might be $120,000 of Microsoft subscriptions, probably $120,000 of implementation fees, and maybe $10,000 of ClickDimensions software on which that partner might make a 21% margin. So what's the deal? Well, the thing is that 10%, that $10,000 was the fuel accelerant that helped them win that much larger deal, including the $120,000 of services, which is really their main business.
So there's no kickback.
No, there is a kickback. It's 21%. But the point is that 21% of $10,000 is pales in comparison to the fact that they actually won a $250,000 deal.
I see. Yeah, they used your feature set to win the deal in the first place.
They used the feature set, yes, but more importantly than that, they used our sell with sales motion. So our sales force is expert in marketing automation, digital marketing, and Microsoft Dynamics. Most of the Dynamics partners are really strong in IT and in implementing CRM. They are not marketing people. They couldn't tell you, what SEO is all about. They couldn't tell you about, how to build the effective nurture tracks. So what we do is we are effectively a product sales specialist for SIs that look a lot more like IT SIs.
And Mike, is this recurring or is it just on first year contract value?
Oh, it's recurring, and that's a big deal for us. We're helping a lot of those
in perpetuity.
In perpetuity, as long as the customer stays with us. Yep. And the idea is that a lot of these guys are struggling with how do they make their business cloud resilient, and so we spend a lot of time working on how we can help them not only make residual margin on the software of ours that they sell, but how they can build recurring subscription-based managed services around digital marketing.
And how sticky is it? Obviously, churn is critical in a SaaS business. What's your guys' churn to date?
Yeah, so our churn's about 15%, which is higher than I'd like it to be.
That's logo or revenue?
That's logo.
Per year?
Revenue's lower on a constrained basis.
That's per year?
That's annual.
That'd be bad if it was per month.
We wouldn't be having this conversation if it was and the for our customer range, this is also something that's unique. Normally, you would say, back with your thesis in the beginning, find a segment of the market, focus on it, and drill it. Our focus is customers who use Dynamics. That's the segmentation dimension. We have customers that range from Fortune 500 firms to small firms with 50 employees. And the differences in churn between the smaller and the bigger are significant. If I were to look at our larger customers, the churn rate is on a logo basis is much below 10%.
Yep. And look, at a 15% logo churn per year, that means you could kind of back into, this is dangerous to extrapolate like this, but you could back into kind of a 6-month lifetime value essentially.
Well, I would hope 6 years, but yeah.
Sorry, did I say 6 months? I meant 6 years.
Exactly.
6 years. All right, good. And still bootstrapped today, or have you guys raised?
So in 2016, in May of 2016, the company sold to a private equity firm, Excel KKR, that focuses on mid-market SaaS companies and IT-enabled services. So that's very different than a venture raise where you're taking in capital for growth. This company has been managed with its own, cash flow and bank debt. So it's a very again, that's a rare story to see a company that grows at 36% in a SaaS business that's profitable enough to be able to use bank debt to grow.
Yeah. Now, when you're talking about bank debt, you're talking the kind of like the Hercules of the world. They'll pile on kind of like this venture debt model, term loans, things like that.
This is classic private equity LBO kind of bank debt. It turns out we bank with Silicon Valley Bank. There are some folks that focus on private equity structured SaaS deals. They're usually for companies bigger than our size, but with our growth characteristics and our profitability, we were able to do it.
Yeah, I'm just saying with most LBOs, right? I mean, they are looking at physical assets. They're looking at what will banks write debt against and things like that. In the SaaS model, you're seeing this new era of kind of financing kick into play. When you look at kind of downstream, you've got the SaaS capitals, the lighter capitals of the world. And then once you're at your size, 30, 40, 50 million, 100 million in ARR, you can go to like a Hercules, a Timia, and they're doing things like or Silicon Valley Bank, and they're actually doing real term loans, first 12 months interest free, then paying back a fixed rate after that. Is the debt you're looking at, is it fixed rate or is it revenue-based financing, a percentage payback of your monthly revenue?
Yeah, it is term-based, it's fixed-based. It's not receivables-based financing.
Got it.
But you got the drill. The key is that they're looking at those recurring revenues and they look at churn and they look at lifetime value and they look at growth.
That's right. No, that's exactly right. Very good. And then you said you had 2,800 customers, right?
Well, that's when I started. We have a little, we're between 3,600 and 3,700 customers now.
Oh, great.
Hopefully we crossed the 3,700 mark.
That's great. Yeah. So if you hit 3,600 or 3,700 and you also hit that 40 million in ARR mark, I mean, the average customer is paying you about $1,000 a month, something like that?
Yeah, a little less than that. I think we'll end up this year just under $11,000 in average revenue per account.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now, you know what I'm about to do here. You didn't give me the CAC number earlier, but you told me it was a kind of a 7 ratio. And if you got a 6 year LTV multiplied by that $925 per month price point, we kind of back in and assuming you're willing to spend, call it $7 or $8 to acquire these customers on a $70,000 LTV. Is that accurate?
Pretty damn close.
Where will you spend that money besides incentivizing partners with that 21% fee? Do you do any direct paid stuff or conferences or?
Yeah, we do, and but I'll tell you, we put more and more and more, the bulk into the channel. Our sale at the moment really comes, and we win a disproportionate amount when somebody is in the early process of deciding to go to Microsoft Dynamics. We win a lot more in the front than if somebody's implemented Dynamics and it's 2 years after they've been live and they decide they want to upgrade their marketing automation.
Yep.
Our win rates aren't quite as high there. So what we're really doing is trying to help our partners drive more new Dynamics activity that pulls us along. And so it's a very different model than, say, what a HubSpot or a Marketo or an Acton would do.
Yep. Now, did Excel KKR recruit you after they acquired it, or were you already at the firm and you said, I want to jump in that company after you buy it?
Now, Excel KKR brought me in.
Brought you in. And what were you doing before?
I was at a New York Stock Exchange company that did collaboration that we had just taken private in 2015. So I did 1 year after being part of the management team that took that company private, and then got the chance to go back to really my roots, which were not only digital marketing, but in the growth phase, venture capital kind of growth phase. So this has been a lot of fun for me to switch from going with, I had great customers before like Bank of America and Citibank and SAP and Apple, to now get back to regular small businesses that are fighting every day to compete with big brands. And it's there's definitely more of a personal dimension and a human dimension to the business that I'm in now. Let's
wrap up here quickly. Team size, how many people?
Yeah, so we have just under 200 folks, including full-time contractors.
Okay.
And we're in the U.S. in 3 cities, and we're in The Hague outside of Amsterdam, and we're in Tel Aviv where most of our R&D is. And we opened up an office in Christchurch, New Zealand. We do business in 61 different countries right now.
Wow. Very good, Mike. All right, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
I think I would say probably Good to Great.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Satya Nadella.
That's probably expected there, right?
And that's one for two reasons. Honestly, I love studying CEOs. Spent a lot of time studying Jack Welch's, a lot of different folks. What he's doing, the transformation that he's doing at Microsoft, makes what Lou Gerstner did at IBM,
pale in comparison.
Well, I was going to say what he did at IBM was pretty amazing. So you get the point.
Yeah. Favorite online tool?
Evernote.
Number 4. How many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Sleep?
Yeah.
What's that? I get about 7 hours.
That's not bad. And what's your situation, Mike? Married, single, kiddos?
Married with 3 kids.
3. Wow, you got a full house. And how old are you?
I just turned double nickel.
What is that, 50?
55.
Oh, very good. All right, take us home here. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
What I wish my 20-year-old self knew. I think I wish that I knew how powerful it was to take enough time on a regular basis, like weekly, to sit back and systematically reflect. What did you learn this week, and what are you going to do about it? And more specifically, how to organize that reflection so that you're asking a set of questions and seeing what you learn. The cumulative effect of that is huge, and I wish I'd started doing that 30 years ago.
In May 2016, Excel KKR purchased and took private ClickDimensions. Mike then came in as CEO. He says he wishes he would just started earlier, reflecting every single week to really systematize any learnings or mistakes from that week. Today, they're scaling quickly, over 3,600 paying customers, about to break $40 million in ARR, growing 36% year over year between 2017 and 2018. 15% logo churn per year, assumes essentially a lifetime value of about 6 years. Healthy LTV to CAC ratio of 7, and payback period less than 12 months. They're a team of 190 people based in the US and other remote locations. Company founded in 2010. Again, really playing in the Microsoft ecosystem, helping over 600 of these kind of agencies, consultants, people onboard folks onto the system at all. And again, their technology is helping them win those deals, paying a 21% kickback on that. Mike, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Nathan.